I'm Monique Holt, and I'm a PhD student, and I study seismology.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm a PhD student, and I study seismology as well.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm a PhD student working with Pete Limper, and I do geobiology. I study these cool bacteria that make magnets.
Cool. I'm Dr. Kathleen Ritterbush, and I am teaching World of Dinosaurs. Voila! Share. So let's start with Courtney.
Okay.
Do you see the first cluster of animals that's a fish, a frog, and a bird?
I do, yes.
Okay. Let's think about, and we'll give Courtney this turn, which of those two animals is most closely related? And when you have a decision, you can go to annotate and you can circle the two that you think are closest.
Oh boy. Okay. A few options. Annotate. What color should I do? Let's see.
Whatever you want.
I'm feeling light blue.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Go light blue.
Oh boy.
Fish, frog, bird.
Oh man, I feel like it's
it's not a trick question. There's no right answer. They're just different levels of abstraction.
Okay.
You know? So like how we sort animals depends on what the question is. Just if you think, okay, which of these things is more closely related, circle them.
All right.
Lightning round.
Go with the fish and the bird.
Okay. And let's go with Elizabeth. You've got lizard, dog, cat.
Okay.
Pick your own color and circle.
Yes, that. I'm prepared. It's fine. I'm gonna go with purple.
We've been doing this
for
for 6 months.
I'm gonna go obvious. There
Cool.
we go.
Okay. And you say obvious, but these things get more and more subtle. All right. Monique, you've got rat, bird, lizard. Go.
There we go.
You all choose weird answers.
You
The person who knows nothing about
head.
biology, I just choose what
You
looks
got cat
like
and dog.
the Luddite options go
Well,
together.
I feel like lizards are naked, right? So I thought that since
Oh.
rats aren't
I
naked.
like that. I like that. I like that.
That is good.
Okay,
That's
let's
clever.
go. Now, when we do it, let's say why. So, Courtney, you've got the next one. That's a sea anemone, a rat, and a crab. Pick your pair and tell us why.
Oh, a sea anemone.
I mean,
and
after
crab.
I made these to be easily Xeroxable, you know, when I first taught this class, and now that's irrelevant.
Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit more obvious because
Okay. Why?
they're like they seem like simpler organisms to me.
Totally fair. All right, Elizabeth, you're up with, I have to move my little screen because I can't tell what the hell I'm looking at. You are up with frog, lizard, bird.
Cool. I'm gonna circle frog and lizard very poorly because because they have 4 limbs that they can use to hop around on, and they're both maybe non-mammalian, reptilian type of creatures.
Reptilian type of creatures. I like it. I like it. All right, Monique, you've got crab, fish, cat. Go.
All right, so I'm going to circle the crab and the fish because
Okay.
they both live in water, I think, or at least part of the time.
Crab, yeah, they sure can. And cats would need a snorkel.
Yes.
Okay, and so let's recap. So Monique just chose crab and fish because they both live in water. Elizabeth chose frog and lizard because they're reptile-y things and they have 4 limbs and they hop around. And Courtney chose sea anemone and crab because they're simple, which is they are. And then going around earlier, Courtney chose fish and bird. Why?
Because they also seemed simpler, and I know there's this whole thing with like fish evolving into amphibians to move on to land.
Okay, cool. And Elizabeth, you chose dog and cat. Why?
Well, they have 3 letters in their names and 4 legs and are furry. And that was the thought process.
Cool. I like it. Okay, and Monique, remind us why you chose rat and bird.
Because they are not naked and lizards are naked.
I want you guys to give yourselves a round of applause. Yay! The reason I like this is that you are all applying some kind of logic, and also I'm just giving you these 3 animals and you just kind of have to pick which 2. And each of you have decided that these animals have something in common that you can see, and maybe that means they're more closely related. Cool. Okay, now, also, some of the answers that you have given are the textbook correct answers, all right? Dog and cat both have fur. Lizard doesn't have fur. Textbook correct answer. Let's look at frog and lizard. Yeah, I mean, those things are reptiles and amphibians. Those are categories that we have used. And when I was in school, so you guys have to learn about like taxonomy, like kingdom, phylum, class, genus, species, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So in terms of those categories, that is how we were taught to sort things. So for example, invertebrates are different groups than vertebrates, right? So anywhere that you've got, let's say, a sea anemone and a crab, we naturally think about like, oh, the rat's its own thing because it's over there having bones, right? Okay, now the reason I wanted you guys to join me for this today, instead of me just yammering about it to a dead screen, is that I think that there's some really neat things that kind of change the way we look at the world when we decide to categorize animals differently. So what we're gonna do to categorize these animals differently is not that they do the same thing with the features that they have, and not that they look kind of the same with the features that they have, but we're going to choose to look at animals that share some anatomy that we think they got from a common ancestor that also had that anatomy. So what I'm going to show you are the right answers according to how we are going to categorize animals in this class. That does not mean these would have been the right answers when you guys were in high school or whoever taught you biology, or if you've had the grace to just be able to avoid biology forever. So if you see, I'm gonna just flash it under where you've circled and leave your annotations up. If you see that the circle is different than what you circled, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're wrong because you guys are better educated than most people and you're all very smart, okay? So it's not that if it's a different answer, it's not that you were wrong and this is right, it's that it's a different way of thinking about how to categorize animals. Got it?
Ah!
Wow.
Right?
Elizabeth, you're the only one.
No, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, but it was
Easiest
dog and
one.
cat.
Yeah,
It was
I got
dog and
the easiest one. They have 3 letters. It's, very simple.
Okay. We can dig into this, but anybody have questions, thoughts, observations? What made you laugh? What surprises you? What are you like, that's bullshit, I'm out of here?
So you'll probably.
Oh, okay. I'll go first. I was just going to say, I'm really surprised that Courtney's first thing was that it's so not what I imagined. I would have done fish and frog because I'm very basic, and fish got legs at some point and then started hopping around, and then in my head then became birds, but perhaps not, which is exciting and interesting.
All right, I like it. I really like what I'm hearing from you guys because it's really informing me how you guys think about this stuff. Okay, excellent. Monique, what did you want to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, if the crab and the mouse are really weird to me. I just would not at all have been like, oh yeah, they're more related than a sea anemone that I've never heard of other than Finding Nemo. Like,
And so sea anemone, I don't have one sea anemone friend, but like crabs, what you got against crabs? Crabs simple, like why? Would you guys have given the same answer Monique gave?
So for the bottom left one that Courtney answered, is that the one we're talking about?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Courtney.
Okay. Yeah.
I was a little confused.
I definitely would have given the same answer as Courtney.
Same here. I feel like Courtney got the hardest ones.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. It
okay.
makes me feel better.
Good. Yeah. And this is, again, the thing that I'm going to be teaching in this class is a way of thinking about categorizing animals that is different than what we have been taught. So, I want you guys to appreciate that you have been applying clear, logical explanations, even when you're guessing, because that's what scientists do, right? You're applying some logic. And also, a lot of what you're learning, a lot of what you are applying are concepts or frameworks that you were taught as a child. Even whether you knew it or not, people teach us these things. So that the way you've organized these things in terms of like, well, these are like less evolved, if I can say that, or like these are simpler, or like these are not as fancy, is the way a lot of them have been sorted. Does anybody else want to point out something that they have a question about, or something that was wacky?
Okay, can we talk about the fish and the cat after this too?
Yes,
Yeah.
we absolutely can. Okay, so do you have a particular question, Elizabeth, about the let's call it a bird and a lizard, or it just strikes you as upsetting?
It's very surprising. I was wondering if it's because of like the evolutionary tree and being more dinosaur-esque or not, or if that has nothing to do with.
Well, it's not irrelevant because this is the World of Dinosaurs class, even though I'll edit myself. So here is the trick now. Can we think of something that is an anatomical feature that a lizard and a bird share, that a frog does not have, and we think that the lizard and the bird did not come up with this thing independently? There are
A
a few
tail?
things. Oh,
Birds have tails?
they do. They have stumpy little
Yeah.
tailbones like we do, like useless little burr. Yeah. Even if
They
there's a lot of
have
feathers, the
claws.
bone is. They do have claws. Do lizards have claws?
Yep. Some lizards.
Do lizards and birds have claws and fingernails? Yeah, look at claws.
Yeah.
Talons, short. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do frogs have claws?
No.
Ever been scratched by a frog? No.
No.
So we could say that one anatomical feature that lizards and birds share, which wouldn't be the first thing you think of when you think of a lizard or a bird, they have claws, frogs do not. We could ask, is that something that we think their last common ancestor had? And then we're on the right mission in terms of the new way that we're categorizing the animals. They don't have to look the same. They don't have to be categorized the same in some taxonomic scheme or how they behave or where they live, but some wacky thing that they have that sets them apart from the other one. Monique, you were interested in the cat and the fish.
Yes, that is upsetting to me.
The honesty.
This is making me so happy that you guys agreed to play, because like it is weird, right? Like, because you did not get the wrong answer. And remind us again, why did you circle crab and fish?
Because of the water.
They do have a habitat and a lifestyle and, let's say, intelligence. This is not anything to do with catness, right? These are not cats, right? You know what they do have in common? They've got bones.
That's what it is.
Boom.
Oh.
So here is not what I'm going to tell you, you were wrong, this is the right answer. What I'm going to tell you is that in this class, a way that we will move forward, grouping animals together and speculating on how they might be related, is that they share certain anatomical features that are of great interest to us. So let's just go around. Let's look at the frog and the bird. They have a pelvis, you know,
Totally.
a place to hang some legs on your spine. Fish does not have a pelvis. Let's look at our dog and our cat. Yeah, they got fur. Lizard, not with the fur. But did you know that while we have wonderful protein, hair, and fur and things as mammals, birds and lizards also have protein coatings that make them interesting. But birds and lizards have a different kind of protein in their system than we do. And it pops up in a different place genetically in them than it does in us. They have extra ingredients that are very delicate and springy that we do not have. And it makes feathers possible. You have all kinds of different furry things, and none of us have feathers. Feathers are part of the repertoire that are made possible by the fancy proteins in those animals. So Monique chose the rat and bird because they're fluffy and they're not naked. And that's true, they are fluffy and they aren't naked, but the rat and the bird make that fluffiness out of different materials. Okay, if we look at the sea anemone and the crab, but actually I'm saying, no, it's crab and rat. Bilateral symmetry, guys. Sea anemones are round. Also, their mouth and their butt, same hole, right? Pretty gross. There are a lot of
Yeah.
new things that pop up in differently organized animals. And so if you just think about symmetry right down the middle, crab and a cat, a crab and a rat, they've got symmetry right down the middle, right? Also their butt and their mouth, two different things. Okay, let's look at, I circled the bird and the lizard and left out the frog. We were talking about fingernails, which is a good feature to track. But another feature that's even more important is an amnion, which is a coating around an egg that makes it possible to hatch out of water, right? Frogs have to hatch in water, and the tadpole's a frog, the whole deal, right?
Mhm.
A lizard can lay eggs on land. A bird can lay eggs on land. And even us mammals, we can have an internal amnion, the whole water breaking thing. That's the amnion, the amniotic sac, right? So the animals that can reproduce on land and don't need to lay eggs in water share a feature that we think popped up in an animal that then gave rise to all these very different kinds of animals that all share from their last common ancestor, an amnion. We call them amniotes because we don't know what else to call them. All right, and finally, we covered real quickly, cats and birds. They both, cats and fish, they have internal bones, right? Crabs have external exoskeletons, and they're pretty awesome, and they do really cool stuff, but they do not have bones. We do not think that bones independently arose in a lineage that gave us fish, and then completely separately independently arose in a lineage that gave us cats. We think that the animals that yielded eventually birds and cats got those bones from the same place. Everybody on board?
Mhm.
Cool. All right. So another way that we could do this is instead of circling just 2 out of 3, we could try to circle the whole group, right? We could make a Venn diagram, but instead of overlapping things, like things to eat for breakfast, things to eat for dinner, waffles obviously goes in the middle, right? Both categories. In this game, none of the categories will overlap, right? So, I mean, they won't cross each other, but they can include other categories. So, for example, here I have circled the critters that have hair, right? Does anybody else want to propose some critters that we could circle based on some of the things we were just discussing? And you can ask me to remind you, and also we can look at it in a, anybody want to propose something?
We've got the proteins to circle.
Mhm.
It's an
Yeah.
easy circle.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and circle that one? Who has the fancy proteins?
The ones on the right.
Yeah, go ahead and circle those guys.
Lizard and the bird. I have to be careful about to use the right word. And not just say random animals that are not on the screen.
Yay! Okay, so that's the fancy proteins. All right, who else wants to circle something?
The bones.
Yeah, who has bones here?
Yeah.
I don't actually know.
That's okay, because I don't know what a love wave is.
Do frogs have bones?
Well, like
They
fish.
do.
Yeah.
Oh, frogs
They
have bones.
Yep, frogs
Yeah.
have bones.
Oh, well
So
then,
then
in
it's
that
just
case, we could just do one of
French fried
these.
frog
Yeah.
legs. Yes, all of those things have bones. The crab and the anemone do not have bones. And
I
then
could do
within,
an easy one.
Yeah, do an easy one.
The bilateral symmetry.
Mhm.
That's like everything except for the sea anemone.
I like it. Okay, we can do some more here. Courtney, could you circle the animals that have a pelvis?
Pelvis. So frog, dog, cat, mouse, lizards do, and birds do. Okay.
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, this makes it easier to read, right? Okay. Although you bring up a good point. When we have all these circles and they're different sizes, it gets a little visually complex, right? Does somebody else want to add a circle for me? Monique, do you want to put a circle around the things that have an amnion? They don't have to lay eggs in water. So they either can get pregnant in their tummy or they can lay an egg on land.
I guess it would be everything from the dog to the right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Give us an amnion circle. Okay, so
Nice.
all right, Elizabeth, I will give you a challenge. I will say fish, frog, dog. Which two are more closely related in this organizational scheme?
Oh, in this organizational scheme, it would be frog and dog because you have nicely laid them out from left to right. So it's- you can easily see there's one more circle for the frog and the dog, the recently created red circle.
And what is that trait that those animals share that sets them apart from that fish?
Right. Yep. That's something we just talked about.
It's in the butt.
The pelvis.
That's right. Because I'm organized a whole lot. This one. Okay. So now, can you guys see this one?
Yes.
All right. So,
It's pre-circled.
yep. It's
Okay.
pre-circled.
Okay.
So, all right, crab and cat, what do they have in common?
Bilateral symmetry.
Yes, they do. Jinx, huzzah! This is an anatomical feature that they both share that the other one doesn't have. That also we think this anatomical feature came from the same place. They didn't get it independently. All right. Now we could look at other things like, oh well, crabs have eyes and cats have eyes. That's true, but when you look up close at those eyes, they're made out of totally different ingredients. So that one's a no-go. We think that they acquired eyes differently through different means because the anatomy up close is like super different. Same thing with legs. You could say, well, crabs have legs and cats have legs. True. But look at the crab legs that we eat and look at the cat legs that we don't typically eat. Right? The legs are totally built differently. So if you just see something like, oh, wings, butterfly, bat, bird, sure, a lot of animals can have a feature, but if we're going to use our feature for this game, we have to decide that it's a feature that they share from a common ancestor. So here is just a picture to remind us about amnions, right? Lizard popping out of an egg. Also, in a pregnant tummy, amniotic sac. That's that thing. Now here's my favorite, all right? Integument is something that gives you like integrity, like something outer coating that's strong, right? And everybody's got it, right? Like fish have, among these vertebrates, right? Like these things with bones. Okay, fish have scales, cats have hair, birds have scales too. So fish scales are actually made out of bone. Cat hairs are made out of keratin protein. And even when you get calluses and stuff, that's keratin, right? And if we look at it on a microscopic level, it's made out of really different stuff. Oh, okay, I was gonna show some genetic stuff, but I'll show that separately. Anyway, where these things actually pop up on the genomes is different too, which is cool. Okay, so if we go back to our board here, I'm gonna stop share and swap share screen, this screen, share. Okay, so one of the ways that we can do this is you guys were able to remember all of those traits and put them on, but you can also, somebody can give you a chart and say, here's your chart. Now decide how to circle these things. So we already did this one. And also you can start with small circles you know about or big circles you know about. You can go from either way, right? But now I'm going to show you another thing that's pretty cool. One way that we can think about all these animals is circling them, or we can think about them as branching away from each other. And the trees tell a story, right? So Courtney's nodding because she's seen these before in her work on bacteria that make magnets or don't make magnets, right? So let's do a lightning round. Courtney, your example is already done here, saying that a bird and a frog have something in common. So instead of just circling the two of them, we'll put a little line saying we think that they branched off more recently than either branched off from a fish. And we can mark a trait there, like pelvis. So it's the same exact activity as the circles. We're just doing it on a tree. Elizabeth, do you want to try the next one? We've got a cat, a dog, and a lizard. To whom is the dog more close? Beautiful. And you want to mark a trait there?
Right.
On the branch.
Okay, fur, is that okay?
Sure, yeah.
Cool.
Mark it a little lower down because there it looks like, you're right. Yeah, I see. That's fine. But I mean, mark the little tag for it. Oh, I like it. There's a delay on the annotation.
Yeah.
Sure. And give a little tag for. And so I'm going to annotate a little thing real quick just to help us out here. I'm going to draw a little line. And Elizabeth, I'm going to mark this fur line here.
Okay,
because that is
cool.
something that this branch gets, and everything after that branch also has, unless they lost it somewhere. Right?
I see.
But this branch
makes
never
more
got.
sense now.
Okay, so now let's see Monique doing. What you got? You've got rat, lizard, bird. To whom is the lizard more closely related?
The lizard, I've already forgotten.
It's the shake.
I know, but to whom, right? It would obviously be the bird.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So draw a little line.
So then I would draw the line this way.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And where should you mark? Yeah, perfect. And you could just put a P for protein. Yep.
Okay.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, Courtney, next one's yours.
Yeah.
You've got anemone, crab, rat.
All right. Annotate. Purple. All right. It's going to go here. And then
Beautiful.
it's going to be bilateral
You can put a BS.
symmetry. I don't know. BS.
Awesome. Excellent. Okay, Elizabeth, you've got the next one. To whom is the bird more closely related, the frog or the lizard?
Oh, it would help if I had draw and not erase on.
Just a little
Imaginary
bit.
lines.
Oh my goodness, why is this so hard for me? There we go. There we go. Cool, and it's because of the amnion.
Sure. A for amnion. And can you make a little
Thank you.
a little hatch?
Yes,
Which
yes,
branch gets
my bad. See, this is the part I'm bad at the hatching.
it? Yay! Okay. And Monique, you've got the last one. To whom is the fish more closely related, the cat or the crab?
The cat.
Mm-hmm.
There. I'm trying to draw one line.
Looks great.
And bones. Awesome. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. Now,
Yay.
something I want you to notice is when we circle them, it doesn't matter what position they're in because you're circling two things. And it's the same with the branches. It doesn't matter if you ended up drawing that branch to the animal that I positioned on the right or the left. Those things can swivel, right? The branching tells a story, and these are evolutionary trees. So if you've heard about evolutionary trees or cladograms or phylogenies and things like that, this is how they're made. They are just telling a story about how we think things, their evolutionary lineage followed. So for example, if we look at the top left, we think that there are animals that are not a bird and not a frog, but had a pelvis, and those are on that side of the tree, right? And that animal, if you find a thing in the fossil record that's not a bird and it's not a frog, but it has a pelvis, you would say, I wonder where it should go on this side of the tree, right? So this isn't the right way to categorize animals, right? There's not a right and wrong way to do it. But if we are trying to think about how are we interpreting their history and their derivation from each other, this is a way to draw those ideas and keep track of it. All right, now I am going to erase your beautiful annotations because they were great. And oh, actually, no, I will jump ahead to the next thing, which will show that it totally agrees with what you guys had, which is awesome. You guys got all of these.
Yay.
Yay! Okay, and now I will clear all of that. And we're going to just do a lightning round where I will show you. Now I'm going to move this down here. Okay, I will show you. All right, this is what we had before, right? It's fancier because a computer did it, right? But these things are a little difficult to, once you get so many different stacking circles, it's like annoying. So we can think about it as circles that are stacked, or we can think about it as a tree, right? So we can think about this tree saying, okay, well here, bilateral symmetry, that's something that the crab and everybody else has in common, right? And we can think about, okay, we can go small packages, think about these guys with the fancy protein, right? Or the guys with the bones, the pelvis. And then we might say, oh, look, we've got a whole lot of animals over here that have hair. They are their own branch, right? Makes sense? So now looking at this tree, let's play the same game again. Looking at the tree, Courtney, I'm gonna say cat, rat, lizard. Which two things are more closely related?
The cat and the rat.
Why? What trait do they have?
Hair.
Excellent. Okay, Elizabeth, crab, fish, frog. Which of those two are more closely related?
The fish and the frog, because they both have bones.
I love it. All right, and Monique, I'm going to say frog, rat, lizard.
Frog, rat. So you gave me the hard one.
I know I gave you the hard one. I know I gave you the hard one. Because it's like there's a tree within a tree, and it's a journey. So you've got frog, you've got rat, you've got lizard. Can you follow with your fingers on the screen, the rat and the lizard and the frog, their branches? Who is sharing a branch that gains a trait that the other one does not get tracked here?
I guess it would be the rat and the lizard because they both have protein.
No.
Mm,
Close. One
No?
down. One down. One down.
Wait, what? Oh, amnion.
Amnion.
awesome. They are amniotes. They have an amnion. They can reproduce out of water. And that is how this is played. So even though I put the bird at one end, if you wanted to study frogs, you could make a tree all about frogs, right? This is not a tree of evolutionary order from not fancy to fancy. This is not a tree of bad things to good things. This is just a tree of stuff we're interested in today. And we can use this tree to illustrate our interpretation of how these things have a shared ancestry. And these trees change all the time when we change what we know about their genetics in the fossil record, et cetera. I have to go jump to another meeting, but you guys are the best, and this has been so much fun, and I will send you whatever I edit out of it, and I really, really appreciate. Give me a 5 if this was fun and interesting, and a 1 if it was terrible and you never want to speak to me again. I like it. All right. Thank you guys. Namaste, and I will see you around.
Thank
All right,
you.
see ya.
Bye.
Bye.